My experience personally and what I've observed for myself is that Scientology is destructive and a ripoff, and that it's very, very dangerous for your spiritual, psychological, mental, emotional health and evolution. I think it stunts your evolution. And joining the Sea Org is the greatest commitment to that. And it requires the greatest amount of commitment from that individual. You know, there's a different standard for a new public, for a Scientology public, an OT public, and then above that is a Sea Org member. And what's required and expected is far beyond. And so the degree to which you have to be completely devoted, and to me, from my perception, the more devoted you are, the more brainwashed you are. The less you are yourself, the more you are just a Scientologist. You know, when I was saying earlier, you know, you become Jason Beghe the Scientologist. Right? Jason Beghe the Sea Org member would be further gone than Jason Beghe the Scientologist. And I hear about some of these hardcore top execs that are now, these are heavy duties in the Sea Org, 25 years, made it to the top, leaving. I would imagine that to use your word, decompression for them could be in danger of the bends. I mean, that's some heavy shit to get that far in. I mean, like, to me right now, I'm just getting an inkling of, like, you take an idea about, you know, one of the big concepts in Scientology is overts, which are sins that you've committed. These are naughty things you've done. These are your peccadillos. These are your big, awful secrets that you would never tell anybody. These are some mistakes you made. They can all add up to overts. I'm beginning to get a concept, and maybe part of the reason why I'm doing this is to try and make up the damage for some of the people I've influenced getting into Scientology, because I feel bad. I feel that was bad. That maybe somebody would look to me and say, hey, he's cool, or you know, he's no fool. Whatever the hell they say, and shit, you know, that makes me feel bad. You know, that Sea Org slideshow, shit, COB told me that it's got a whole bunch of people into the Sea Org. It's working like gangbusters. So you ask me if I fully, really faced that without flinching, it would be a tough pill to swallow. I mean, that's some heavy shit. I mean, if you really, or if I really look at that, I mean, that's taking people's lives away. That's enslaving somebody's mind. And when I was talking about being, you know, the levels of ethics, where somebody doesn't even know they're out ethics, shit, baby, we're talking about people who don't even know they're enslaved. That's a hard fucking thing to. I mean, shit, they can create their own reality where they will show up when they're 21 next lifetime and come back. That's fucking feasible. I'm talking about brainwashed. I mean, I don't know how far it goes, but I mean, it ain't a joke. And if Scientology is real, then something's fucked up, because it ain't delivering what it's promised. That's for goddamn sure. It is not. It says it delivers what it's promised. Where's the fucking clear? You're talking about OTs. Let me meet a motherfucking clear. I would like to meet a fucking clear. I'm clear, right? I'm declared clear as a fucking bell. I went clear twice, as a matter of fact. Okay? So, I mean, you pull out a fucking copy of Dianetics, let's hear the definition of clear. And then they change it a little bit more, and they say no longer has his own reactive mind, his own, so they can sell the OT levels. But what I see now it ain't a joke for me when you start talking about this. This is the bad stuff. I think, from my own experience and from what I've seen, I think the further up you go up the bridge, the worse you get. That's what I see. Some people are happier, but who's happy? I submit to you that it's not them anymore. And I know people that are troubled to death. They've just finished OT8 and they have migraines. Migraines? A fucking clear doesn't have migraines. It's an OT8, for God's sakes. Migraines? Migraines is an engram that you can handle in... I mean, come on. How do they... And they're still fucking gung-ho and head OT ambassadors and all this shit and running around trying to do the job of the OT8s who are really the powerhouses. And so they believe that. And so they're happy because I'm fucking doing something to save the planet. And they're running around doing this stuff, but it's just like that theta trap. It's just one guy's stuck in a theta trap and he's unhappy, another guy's stuck in it and he's happy. Because he's convinced himself and he's just, I mean, it's awful. What's worse? I'd rather be depressed than that. Then, oy, oy, oy. It's sad. I mean.
So what would you say to people who are still in?
Well, somebody's still in, listen, you got to make your own move. But it's like this. This is, hopefully this will communicate. Like I said before, I used to smoke. I had my little son, and I never smoked in front of my son. But kids are smart. And he'd find a cigarette and he'd be going like this. And he couldn't even walk. And I said, I gotta fucking quit. And I couldn't quit. I tried to quit a whole bunch of times. I found this thing called the easy way to stop smoking. It worked for me, okay? And it was easy. It was very easy. It's part of the whole smoking thing, according to this thing that worked for me, is that it's not as bad as you think it is, okay? And so for somebody who's in, it's as far gone as I say you are as you go up. It's the difference between waking up and being asleep is the difference between waking up and being asleep. And it's like sometimes when you're asleep, you can still hear the shit that's going around because you're only half asleep. You're not that fucking brainwashed. So I'm here to tell you, this is what I say. Wake up. And you can hear it. There was actually a little process that LRH ran. Some processes are good, okay? And he used to run it, and he said sometimes you can actually cure somebody of insanity, which is what we're talking about. And the command is in tone 40, which means with any possibility of there being the communication not arriving and making the effect intended, is saying to the person, the insane person who's, I'm talking about a fucking, David Berkowitz, and here's the only command, come up to present time. Come up to present time. Because you're not there. And guess what? You are there. So, come on. Hello? Right now. There you are. There you are. That's what I say to that person. There you are. That guy. That guy. That guy right there. Not what you're thinking. Fuck what you're thinking. Hello, right there. There it is. And it's a no-brainer. So it's not that hard. It's like it really isn't. Me, I got out. I mean, it was a slow process, but I know that most of it. Here's what I'll tell you something. This is what I fucking know. I realize when you're doubting, you already know. You're just looking for a bunch, because you're stuck in a world of data. You're looking for data to make it so you can overweigh this data. And guess what? It's not about data. It's about you. I mean, which is exactly what Scientology says. This is because there's the irony. It's about you. It's not about any fucking data. There's nothing to figure out. Because you already know. You already know. Beside the fact that all these fucking claims, here's just a thing, if you have just a little thing. All these claims, how about a little bit of fucking evidence? How about some fucking evidence? I'm not talking about prove to me there's God. I mean, it's just some pretty fucking sweeping things of like, well, you know, you have to take responsibility for, you know, salvaging beings. Like this whole Xeno thing is insane. You know what I mean? Do people believe it? Why? Because LRH said it. Just like I was talking about the psychs. There's no fucking evidence. It's just just chatter about nothing. There's no fucking evidence. And they call it Scientology. Like it's got some fucking hypothesis and some fucking if then and here's the proof and this is it and there it is. And the fucking thing, and that's the other thing that I realized that listening to all those fucking congresses, this motherfucker, listen, if you're doing some Scientology, some science, you know, you gotta have a bunch of fucking people and you test the fucking thing. What did he do it on? 3 fucking of his friends? Wait, that's it. You're clear now. Okay, let's have a Congress. Because it worked. You changed the wording from come up to present time to come up to present time. And that's a Congress. And it worked on, you know, Joe. So yeah, go try that. And they fucking have these audits. I mean, it's insane. I think he believed it some of the time. You know what I mean?
So what would you say to current management?
Well, if you're, I don't get it. That's what, I mean, I don't get it. The ones who are like, I don't get it. I mean, you know, like the lower level people like that I know in the Sea Org, like, you know, Dave Pettit and stuff like that. Like Dave, I can talk to Dave right now. Dave, you know. You got to justify, you fucking know. That I know, that you know. And if either you're a liar and you're, you know, really evil and just want to get up on top and somehow win the thing, which I doubt, but it's possible. But the other side of it, you know. You know. And it's not just my fucking story, and you know that too. So you know. And so I would imagine, you know, these people that are, you get so justified and that, you know, like when you get into a group, I would imagine that they have their own little group. And in my opinion, just to use more of that nomenclature from Scientology, another way to say is that the further up the bridge you get and the further up the Sea Org you get, the more PTS you get. And that you think that PTS is, I'm feeling shitty, or I've got a cold, or I broke my leg, right? You think that's what it is. That's a level of PTSness, at least you're aware something's wrong. When you're sitting there and you're so fucking PTS that you think you're fucking saving this sector of the fucking galaxy, you know, all you can, I mean, it's just time, you know, what can you say? Either, hopefully, for your own sake, you're just a plain old SP and you want money and power. If you actually believe that shit, which I don't, because remember, you know me talking now, you can wake up just like that. If you really believe that, then you're so far gone. I mean, that is that's gone. That's gone. And I don't believe anybody's that gone. You just, it's like a guy who has a $500 a day habit. You know, he started with 1 toke or whatever the fuck it is. It's just more, you start eating more and more of this shit to the point where you believe and you've got all these things. Because I know if you're that far up in the fucking exec management level, you've committed so many fucking overts and justified so many evil fucking deeds, you know it. I mean, a blind man could see it. I don't even have to know what it is, I can tell. That's why I'm so happy Mike Rinder got out. And he was the worst piece of PR you guys had. Because I would look at that guy and you could just tell that guy was bad. He had done a lot of bad things. I mean, I just saw it. You could tell, you know, I mean, they put him on to defend people, Scientology. You put the Dalai Lama on and you look at him and you say, there's a sweet guy, I don't know what Buddhism is, but you can tell that's good. Deepak Chopra, you know, okay, he wants a couple of bucks, but he's trying to help him. This is a guy who's like, yeah, I mean, he's dark and he was like, yeah, and it was like this thing. It's like fucking thing. This is what you would cast as a villain in some cheap fucking B movie. What are you, crazy? And you know, did you believe it? I'm sorry. I mean, he's out. I mean, I hope he's out. That's great. But that's what I saw. You know, that's what I saw. You know, me personally, I look at David Miscavige. That's my definition of 1-1. He's good at it. You know, to lie to people like that, to take money, to have no sense of responsibility when you rip people off for hundreds of millions of dollars and then make them happy about it afterwards? You must be giggling. Arbitrary's canceled. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, that's insane. So, whatever, you know. But there's some people, listen, the bottom line is some beautiful fucking people in there. Public and Sea Org. Great people. Great, great, great people. You'd be lucky to have a friend like that. So, but that's the shame of it. And that's the part, you know, I don't, you know, maybe I've gone too far because I do not want to hurt somebody's feeling. I don't want to shake somebody's universe. I'm not here to, yeah, like right now I'm feeling a little, only because I don't, you know, maybe, yeah, well, there's the unsugar-coated version, but it's got a little English on it. And my intention is not to put English on any of this. I mean, I talk in a way that's full of English, but I'm talking about, like, I don't have an agenda. I don't think. I mean, like most people, I guess I want to help. And I suppose that's why I got into Scientology. That is because I wanted to help. And right now I'm trying to help. And I know that the Scientologists are trying to help. They're just trying to help. I think that's what most people are trying to do, is they're just trying to help. I don't want to be a terrorist about it and shake anybody up and upset anybody. I have the luxury of having gotten into Scientology and, after having been in it, been out. And that's a perspective that those people who are in and are not out do not have.